This is F.D. Recovery, where we interview addicts and alcoholics.
Our aim is that through this podcast, we might help you on your journey of recovery.
Thank you for listening. Hello, this is F.D. Recovery, and my name is Frank, your host. And with me I have...
My name is Shelly.
Her name is Shelly. All right, welcome back to the F.D. Recovery. So the way it works, this is here, hold on, let me switch some things. This is the weekly intention. If you're unfamiliar with the weekly intention, basically we take a topic, a spiritual principle, whatever we want to work on during the week, and we work on it, and we come back and talk a little bit about it, and then set a new intention for the week. This week, drum roll, please. Wait, that's more of like a typewriter or something, huh?
Not really sure what you were doing.
It is purpose. Oh, purpose. And I did that on purpose, I swear. That whole segment, right? So before we dive into purpose, we shall recap on what we talked about last week, which was change. I said I was going to work on 3 things to change. It seems like I only was able to come up with 2.
What were those?
They were change my attitude and change my cold heart. You know, be more open. And, I wasn't horrible at it, but I could have been better, right? We could always do better in this whole recovery thing, but I don't know. How do you think I did in the whole aspect of that? I mean, you see most of my crap more than anyone else, right?
You were a little more mellow this last week with my attitude that I probably won't change in the near future. But yeah, you were a little less to jump when something made you irritated or angry. And I'm also trying to let you know, hey, I can't read your mind. And so instead of assuming I know what you're talking about or what you're going to do, like say exercise in the other room, and then get mad because we're in the same room, yet you didn't tell us you wanted to exercise in it. But anyways, you've been quick to not get angry and to actually express yourself a little bit better. Yeah, a little change. You could use more help.
And I swear, guys, we didn't script this. I did not force her to say this. I swear. She's not held hostage right now. I'm not forcing. Who's the real hostage?
You asked to marry me.
That's true. This is true. Well, before that, I said, "Hey, you want to wait? Which one did I say first? Do you want to have a baby or?"
I don't know. I just remember that it was the same scenario each question. I don't know which came first. I was doing my makeup. I had this big mirror in the corner of the room, and you just came waltzing in and said, "Hey, what do you think about having a baby?" Like, yeah, okay, that's great. We're what, a year clean? Yes, sounds good. Yeah, and the marry me thing was pretty much the same.
I mean, well, that directly correlates with change, big time, because those are some major changes, right?
Yeah, we had to do a lot of work on ourselves to get where we are, and it's definitely still not easy. But think about where we were.
Oh yeah,
Right, like you were in jail. I was just mean, and yeah, we
well,
were better for it.
the thing that changed mostly was I'm not in jail. You're still mean, but you're less mean. Hey, it's progress, not perfection. See, the thing with me, right, is like you have this subtle where you can give some attitude, right? But I like to build up and not communicate, and then my mean becomes a blowout. And that's one thing I've been doing a little bit better, actually a lot better. So I would give myself a little bit more credit that I'm egging on there because
you deal with a lot of anger, a lot of rage, and when you don't have that in check or something is spiritually, physically, mentally off, I mean, it's not as bad as it was, but you're quick to go down a rabbit hole, and you're not always pleasant to be around. But it's cool to watch you grow and make better choices as this relationship and time and journey has gone on, because you're a much better person today than you were. And I've never had to know you under the influence, and
Oh
talking to all your
God.
family and getting to know them more regularly this last year in itself. Like, man, they all told me you were a piece of shit.
Pretty much, yeah. Hey, that's going right along that vein of change. It's
Yeah.
like, and sorry, that wasn't a pun, IV using drug pun. I swear. But the whole reality about this is getting to a place where you can recognize this ugly stuff inside yourself, because that's some of the. See, the thing with me is, the thing I had to change is I wanted to recognize all the ugly inside other people, unknowingly realizing that that was really just the ugliness inside myself, right? And you could see, like, the thing that resides with it resonates with me most is when I'm like on Facebook and I see some people commenting on something that's supposed to be pretty good, right? And you can go on the comments and just see some, like, how did they get that from that? Like, the either the video or the post has nothing to do, but they just went off on their. But then I'm like, I realize
They got their own shit going
yeah.
on and they're projecting.
Uh-huh. That's not they hate you, it's that they hate them, right? And that's the thing that I had to get to terms with, is I thought I was hating everybody else, but I realized that the person I hated most was myself, and I didn't realize how that correlated at all. Yeah, I was pretending that it was somebody else. I was pretending that you were the problem. But really, when it came down to it, when I was willing to put the spotlight within myself, that's when things really started to change,
We took
right?
the ego out of the way.
Which
Kind of.
is a hard one. Because the ego, is not your amigo, but you'll be surprised on how much times it pops up. You think it's your best friend because it's right there all the time. And when it boils down to it, getting to this, sum zero, I like to call it, or the void, where you're just trying to take a breath and, trying to get God centered, it can get pretty hectic, because I'm not used to that crap. I'm used to blowing up and kicking things over and, cussing things out. And thankfully today, it's like the little crap that really pisses me off. It's, I take it out on the small things and cuss at myself. And that's progress, right? But don't be a fly on the wall, because so, so a lot of people, especially when I was in early recovery, I thought I had to do everything perfect. And that's just not what the truth is, right? So the whole change factor, how did that work for you in your life
Well,
this
this
week?
last week specifically is, my challenges with food. Made really good choices through the majority of the week. But hey, guess what? Fair was this week.
Yeah.
And Saturday was my excuse to not give a shit anymore about the way I ate, because I did really good this last week, making good choices, and then, I blew it. And I noticed, and I'm not surprised, that I'm still kind of on that trend. It's so interesting how quick you can go back. Mind you, a week isn't very long, but I
Yeah.
was very proud of myself, and you were checking in on me, and I was telling on myself, and yeah, it's just like with addiction. They say that you pick up exactly where you left off, and that's with any addiction, not just drugs and alcohol. So, just recognizing where I'm at with that, and not let this last weekend, this choice of not making good food choices, take me out for the rest of the week. Like, hey, it's done, it's over with. Let's not do that again. Because honestly, I don't feel good. I don't like the way I feel after eating, fatty, high calorie, high sugar foods.
Yep.
It's fun in the moment, right? I mean, I love chocolate covered bananas with peanut butter. By the way, Lazy Dog has a good chocolate covered banana that has peanut butter and granulated peanuts on it. And
Yeah, I watched you eating that over there, and you were lightweight hiding it from me. And I'm
like, what are
like,
you
what
eating?
is
And I'm like, a banana.
I was like, what is going on over there? I thought she was like
I
smoking
was
some
hiding it
crack
from
in the
Rhea.
corner.
Didn't want Rhea eating my
Yeah.
chocolate.
Dude, you look like a crack addict in the corner. I just was kind
Okay,
of
but
chuckling to
case in
myself.
point, right? Like, Okay, so I recognize my poor food choices,
Yeah.
and I'm going to actually still practice change and making those better food choices this week because I did it last week. I've done it before in the past. I've got no reason not to keep doing it.
Yeah.
But it was a really good banana.
Oh, it did look good. The one thing that I've gotten a little bit better at over the years and understanding about, dieting is I replace my sweets with better substitution, high protein stuff.
Guys, a
So
lot of yogurt.
and yeah, a lot of yogurt, Greek yogurt, low calorie. I mean, that really you throw some protein with it, a little bit of peanut butter, or well, in my
Turn into
case,
an
a lot.
advertising podcast.
And this right here is Oikos. 17 grams of protein. Buy now at your local. So, the whole change factor is getting to that point. But, even in dieting, it's like once you get some momentum, you start choosing your one cheat day a month or one every 2 weeks so you don't get burnt out, right? Because you want to be able to eat the foods you love, but you want to, you
Not
want
being glutton.
yeah, that, but also switch out for the low calorie stuff and start, looking for the things that you can satiate that hunger with, but try to change the ingredients, right? Because you can take something that's a 1200 calorie and you can change it to half that and have almost the same amount of food if you do it right. I mean, I was vegan for 4 years. You remember substituting everything you cooked with.
God,
I
that
mean,
was hard. When he finally made the switch to be like, babe, I think I'm gonna start putting some chicken in my diet or
yeah.
cheese. I'm like, what? Really? I don't have to buy barley anymore. I can buy real cheese.
Barley. What the hell is barley? I don't think I even ate that crap ever. Well, so even back then, right? Because I was on a major cut. I was
Yeah.
running like 3 or 4 miles a day almost, right? And I got that foot injury, but I was also starting to lift heavy weights, so my goals changed, right? And then I got really, really strong and got all my lifts really high, but then also with heavy lifting, you have to eat a lot. That's just how it goes. You need to build that muscle and that strength. You need a lot of protein, and so what happened is I jumped back up to like 265 or some crap like that, and now I want to go on the way back down, and now I'm back down to 240 ish, and my pants, I noticed they're loose again. I'm like, oh wow. So these are those changes correlating back to those changes, and just getting down, whether it's weight or just making healthier choices or just getting more active. It's all about setting goals, right? And that's how you're really going to change, right?
So good segue into our this week's topic is purpose.
Yeah.
So with change and goals, usually there's a meaning or a purpose behind why you want to do something. Hence your purpose to no longer be vegan anymore.
Yeah.
And no longer eat barley and also stay
Spinach.
clean and sober. Yeah, so Google says purpose, the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. The verb formal is the have as one's intention or objective. AI really provides too many definitions.
Stand by. She's
Reading.
scanning. She's scouring the internet for more.
Let's see here. What is God's definition of purpose?
Ooh, God. How do they know? What's God's definition? Wow.
AI.
Talking to
Okay,
God.
now how about what is the deep meaning of purpose? This is a little more general, so that way we're not focusing on any one thing. A sense of purpose is the way you give meaning to your existence. It's a feeling that you have a reason to live. It's a journey of discovering who you are and what you want. The search for meaning stems from the need to feel that your life has value and purpose, which is the opposite of what I felt when I was drinking.
Big time.
I felt like I didn't have a purpose, or I was ashamed of who I was and the decisions that I was making. It's so funny. You drink alcohol to not feel it, but it just makes the problems worse.
Oh,
and
big time.
worse. Hey, what are you doing?
I was looking at I was going to get a little recap while you were talking.
He's a phone thief.
A sense of purpose and the way of
I like
meaning.
that.
So, the way my brain defines purpose, right? I went a very long time just living in this meaningless negativity that I was so prone to darkness and dark thoughts, whether it be violence, anger, hate, all these things that fed me in that negative way. And in the end, what it all amounted to was a big fat definition of nothing, right? That's what I didn't believe in God. If anything, I rather believe in the devil. And, I was in these head trips of, when you die, nothing goes on, and right here's meaningless, hedonistic mindset,
What's
right?
the point of even doing anything?
Yeah, because I had a long history of just failure upon failure, and I really had no mentors, really had zero direction, right? I had no goals, I had no sense of priority of change, nothing like that. And I was never really taught anything of substance, right? And I never really allowed myself to open up to, because it's like my addiction. I heard this, and it really resonated with me, right? The life jacket that addiction provided, it helped me survive in the troubled water of life, whether it was when I was young with the trauma growing up, a young adolescence, teen, never fitting in, trying to fit in, doing whatever I could to fit in. Then it morphed into a whole bunch of drugs, and then violence, and then led me down the wrong path. And through all that, it was really my life jacket, right? But somewhere along the line, that life jacket turned to stone, and I started sinking. And what used to save me no longer
Serves you.
served me in that moment. It was actually hurting me, right? So there became a point where I had to take the life jacket off and start swimming and get to safety. But the thing is I did that, right? And I didn't fully realize it was a life jacket at first, and then I'd put it back on. And then there was just a repetitive cycle of doing that until I realized what it was. I'm like, so now, realizing that the thing that used to save me is now the thing that is actually going to stop me from growing, because I'm no longer that hurt kid. I'm no longer that young kid that needed guidance. I'm now an adult, and now I'm going through recovery, and I'm facing all these things, and I need to take that life jacket off in order for me to survive. And it's counterintuitive of something that worked for so long and kept you out of so much pain and so away from all those memories and all that trauma. And it's very counterintuitive. That's why it was so hard for me to take that off, right? And tying that back into purpose. My definition of true purpose is connected to divinity, right? Is once you can find what your purpose is and what your God purpose is, meaning you've connected it to a spiritual life, you connected it to your higher power, and it'll unfold right in front of you. And it's like what we're doing right now on this podcast. That's part of my purpose. What I do outside of this podcast with Project Heart, NA, AA, the people that come in and out of my life, right? I've found my purpose, right? And most people search their whole life for it, and never luck out. And I'm just every day I'm very blessed to be where I'm at, to being able to find this path that I'm on, because I spent many years in the dark not knowing, right? And that definition of purpose is what hits home for me, right? And if you haven't found your purpose out there, I urge you to start praying on that, start getting connected with the higher power, and start asking Him, God, help me find my purpose. Show me the signs. Send the people, send the message. I am open to it, right? And you'd be surprised, with enough prayer behind that and enough putting forward that intention, doors will open up for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your take on purpose?
You expect me to top that? Oh, jeez. Well, my definition of purpose really, I just really like what I had read. What is the deep meaning of purpose? The way you give meaning to your existence. And for me, that's kind of always evolving. And,
Mm,
I drank and made a lot of bad choices because I didn't like the person that I was. And it wasn't that I wasn't necessarily in a bad position, I just was too afraid to face adulting on my own. And I knew that if I gave up what I had, then I would be in a place that was very uncomfortable and very, very unfamiliar. And I was scared because the life that I was living, it was comfortable, it was complacent, it was normal for lack of better words, but I wasn't happy. I didn't know who I was. I was losing sight of myself. I don't even know that I knew who myself was. And so I stayed in this fear, not this, well, yeah, stayed in this situation out of fear of what if I were to make that choice, if I were to make this break and do something completely different, I was afraid that it wasn't going to go well, and I didn't have that faith in God. And so I drank the alcohol and I took drugs and I made all of it just kind of numb so I could just go through the motions and be uncomfortably comfortable.
mm.
And then I manifested the reality in a bad way to where I lost everything, and I realized that I took what I had for granted, and that didn't feel good. So for me, my purpose, the meaning to my existence is to continuing to figure out who I am and to continue making the next right choice, because I have always had faith that there has been a higher power for me, but fully giving into that is where I've always struggled.
Mm.
And so by letting things go, doing the next right thing, and not drinking and doing drugs has really helped open my eyes and showed me a more pure way of living that isn't in fear. And I'm happy with who I am today. And I'm not afraid to speak my mind and be myself, even if it is rearranging eight different things in one day. Um, you know, and not having my son in my life and then having my daughter now, I want to continue just moving forward and making these good choices because I couldn't do it for my son. Not going to do it for my daughter, but I'm going to do it for me. But I want my son and my daughter to know that I'm not going to give up just because I was a bad person back then. I'm not going to be that way from here on out. I've got no reason to be. I don't want to be. So, yeah, my purpose is to be a good person.
Oh, I mean, that's a damn good purpose, right? And it's for people listening out there. It's a personal journey, right? We're here, we're on this planet, and we're just trying to make sense of things. We're trying to reconnect spiritually. We're trying to unlearn all that crap that got downloaded into us from a young age, and some of it good, but for me, most of it was bad, right? And I'm trying to unlearn some of these habits in which I'm so used to falling back on because, that comfortable numbness, right, that you spoke of
Hmm.
is because it used to cradle me, like, the shadows used to cradle me in that kind of concept of, where I wanted to be. I didn't know
Hmm.
because I had no vision. I couldn't see in front of me. It's, one headlight flying down a back road and can't see nothing, right? I
Hmm.
was a madman. And so getting back and, getting my headlights in the shop, and and
Being
now
able
I
to
got my
pay for them
triple
to be
beams
fixed.
on. And getting that vision back, it's important, right? I go in and talk about vision a lot, right? If you ain't got foresight and you're struggling to see the future, man, it's like this. You got one day at a time, and if you're struggling, just do the next right thing, right? That's what we get taught in here. Just do the
Hmm.
next right thing, because sometimes we don't know what to fucking do, and if we can just do the next right thing, that'll lead us on this path. Especially when we're in early recovery, because we don't really know what the right thing is, right? So that's why we got to get around these people in the meetings, and we start learning
Get a
this thing.
sponsor, do the steps. I mean, I'm not necessarily active in sponsorship, but I did do that. I did the steps a couple of times. And yeah, if you don't know, get somebody with who does? Because they're sober for a reason. They did the work, and if you want to have that life, you gotta be able to do what they did.
Mm.
And sometimes that's not easy. Actually, it's really easy, not it's
Not
really
simple.
hard a lot in the beginning.
Yeah, it's tough because we kind of go against our whole programming, right? It's like you're
Well, we want to
trying.
reinvent the wheel.
Hmm.
My early recovery, I remember going to a lot of meetings and I would watch these people and they would like have a couple months clean and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to do this all different. I'm going to do the steps myself. I don't
Hmm.
need anybody else."
Yeah,
Like, when has that ever worked?
I'm gonna get in 3 relationships, and I'm gonna do the steps by myself without a sponsor. Yeah, we've all been down that fucking road where we're just making all the wrong choices, and but that's the good thing about this is you're not alone, right? Our
Hmm.
stories are a little different, and we've all done our dumb shit. Don't get me wrong, but the thing about this is just one step at a time, one foot in front of another, and just do the next right thing. And eventually, you might not know your purpose right here this second, but you put some thought into it. You put it on pen and paper. You put it down,
You get
and
there.
yeah, you get there slowly but surely, right? The thing is, right, I've witnessed a lot of guys, and it was me many times, is I would get so fucking pissed, and I thought of God as a vending machine, and I've mentioned that before, but it's like I would hit these buttons and expecting it now, and understanding that everything that is worth something, it takes time. You don't want that thing that comes easy because you don't have the same respect for it when it leaves, right? So you're just going to throw it away. I've had expensive cars, I've had the girls, the material things, the money, and it just all went as fast as it came because I didn't have the tools to sustain that kind of life, right? I was always either too insecure for the relationship, or I don't even know how to get tags for my car. All these things, I was ill-equipped for life, and so they just came as fast as they went because I just didn't respect the process. I always wanted to jump into baller mode without any understanding of the pain and the reps it took to get sustain that, right? So I didn't grow to it. I always manipulated my way, right? And that the important thing to this, we were talking in our meeting and at the rehab, and this guy, when we were talking about change, right? Bring it back up, but we're talking about change, right? And it led me into purpose, right? We were talking about that, and I'm like, okay, well, um, that's a good segue, right? Because it takes all those stepping stones. We talked about discipline, we talked about change, we talked about goals, we talked about all these things leading up to purpose. And I think the biggest deal and the biggest thing to kind of set your trajectory on what you want to achieve is find a purpose, right? Whatever that is, right? And it's different for everybody.
I was just looking here on my phone. Another meaning of purpose. Spiritual meaning of purpose. The
Ooh.
quest for authenticity and wholeness. A journey enriched by every experience and relationship along the way. I like
Mm,
that.
that's a good one, yeah, because
'Cause-
that authenticity is it's hard to come by and it's hard to cultivate.
Mhm.
Like and as soon as you think you got it, you learn something else about yourself and you go, "Oh my God, I'm a fake motherfucker." And you have to shed that, and then you have to
I've been through that.
recalibrate it, and it's a constant pruning process. It's like you go out to the garden, you tend to your plants, you cut off the dead leaves,
Did you
and
ever have a specific moment when you realized, like, well, I am like the fakest person out
Mhm.
there? See, I
Oh
don't think I
yeah.
had one moment. I think it was an accumulation of things. And then, here I am judgy about everybody else. And it's like I won't take a look in the damn mirror.
Mm.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well, the way it worked for me, right? It was there was a lot of turbulent moments that were really really hard,
Mm.
and it shook my psyche to the point that kept nudging me towards change, right? And so there was a lot of those turbulent points where I was coming to the face, and it was kind of like the death of ego moments. That's what they call it, right? So you start getting into these
Die,
moments where you
motherfucker.
start facing that person that you have been projecting to the world for so long, off a bunch of beliefs and principles and all these wives' tales you used to tell yourself, right? And all
Foundation of
these,
sand.
yeah, and getting down to the point where you're like, wow, most of them were just survival techniques. Most of them were just trying to relate. Most of them were just trying to fit in. You listen to the music just because everybody else was listening to it, right?
Did you listen to it because you wanted to?
Exactly. And that's why when you're on, for me, when I'm on this road now, it's like it totally changed for me, right? Hold on. What the hell? It
Your
totally
dad died.
changed for me because hold on. There we go. Yeah, the computer was bugging out for a second. But it totally changed for me because I was at this point where, I didn't vibe with the music that I used to, right? I used to like rap a lot, and I used to actually do rap, right? Actually rap, actually write raps and things like that. And that just doesn't vibe with me anymore. I want to start writing again and getting back to that creativity, but I want to do it with a positive message, and it's just kind of hard to do it with rap.
Well,
But
think about what you're doing now. I think you need to give that a little bit of credit, because even though you're not spitting rhymes and, you've beat in the back, you're still outputting material that has a vocal meaning to it, and you're getting the word out.
yep, the word is out here on FT Recovery.
Next week, you'll hear Rap by Frank.
We'll drop a rap here live stream. No, so if you're struggling out there with purpose, start with those steps. Start with implementing some changes. Start implementing some of that discipline. Start praying for your direction towards your purpose, right? And start using these tools to you use them in combinations, right? It's just like any kind of combo you would on Sega or Nintendo, right? Just to hit that perfect
X,
combo.
down, down, up,
Yeah.
left, right.
Don't just
Circle.
button mash. I mean, every now and
LRL2.
then, every now and then
Love.
button mash works, but getting to the real rhythm of it and using these tools and trying different stuff, right? As far as in recovery, and I don't mean different stuff as drugs, right? We've already went down that road. Right, we've substituted one for another for a very long time, right? And that's one thing that changed was so actually we were talking about change, and I led into it after somebody talked about it. Well, yeah, man, I was super high on MDMA. I was like, oh, speaking of MDMA, the topic of today is change. And the whole crowd just looked at me and they're like, what do you mean? That has nothing to do with MDMA. I said, oh no. I said, we're just all fucking smoked out on drugs and we need to change that. So it was a pretty funny segue. We all cracked up because they resonated with that, right? And that's exactly the stuff that needs to be addressed, is getting to that real point about some of these life choices that we make, right? And tying that change and using the discipline in those changes and then leading it to your purpose, right? So these, I swear, we're not just going at this like a madman. We're actually trying to pick topics that kind of coincide with each other, that really, if you use them,
Make you a flow chart.
Yeah, well, yeah, a flow directive,
Flow chart.
Not from Progressive though. We don't want to get sued. All right. Progressive Insurance. All right, that was a cheesy joke. I know it was a dad joke. All right, so leading into this week, let's work on
having dad jokes.
Yeah, not having, yeah, because that's definitely not my purpose, right? Comedy is not my gig. I will have an open mic night tonight, though. Meet me at the auditorium at 5. See, it's not my gig. So
dumb.
So, find your purpose, and if you're struggling, you do the steps to get you closer to that purpose. Find literature that talks about purpose. Look up things online. Seek it out. Seek and you shall find. The information is out there, and if you just really, really get to it, and I mean get to it, then these things will manifest. These things will manifest in due time, right? So, anything else you want to add the cherry on there? Oh, Miss Giggles over there. Oh, Gigglesworth.
I'm just so glad there's no cameras.
Just for the listeners.
No.
It's not too inappropriate, but so this week is purpose. Write some things down. Write some comments in the comment box. Let me know what was your things you chose to change this week, and also what you're gonna dig into the whole purpose topic. All right, this is Frank with F.D. Recovery.
My name is Shelly.
All right, and we out. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to FD Recovery. A reminder, be kind to yourself on this journey of recovery. Also, call your sponsor, get connected to local support groups, and for one day at a time, stay clean and sober.